welcome Workday Vice President, HCM Product Management, Christina Gold.
Good morning. There is no better way to think about our session today where we're looking forward than to look back on the last year and everything that we did. And it certainly was a lot. Many of you in the room here attending Rising for the first time, becoming new members of the Workday family. So many of you going live in the last year. So great success. It's my privilege to lead the HCM products team, and today we have a jam-packed hour for you. We're going to share how the massive transformation in the workforce is driving product innovation. We'll hear from customers and understand how they're navigating this change. We'll also share what we're working on today to support this. But when we think about how we build and develop our strategy, we consider many dimensions. And one of the dimensions that's really very important is the trends that we see out there, the trends in people practices, the trends in the workforce, the trends in business. And when we think about those trends, and we heard some of this morning in the keynote, there are massive amounts of opportunity out there, but also a large number of opportunity seekers. So the good news is that there's a job for every person out there. However, the skills required for the new opportunities are changing. People want to leverage their additional skills. Ways of work are changing from generation to generation. And keeping and retaining, it's hard enough to find the right talent. Keeping and retaining that talent becomes challenging. You know, what we hear is 70% leave their organizations in order to advance their career, to gain new experiences, to grow. So this makes it a challenge retaining your most valuable people. And really, we see organizations change. They're becoming more fluid. The organizational dynamics have changed. And because of that, we're seeing the composition of teams changing. Teams are becoming more diverse. But the good thing about that is diverse teams outperform those that are not diverse by about 30%. So diversity, inclusion, ultimately belonging has a huge impact on satisfaction. So it's very important. As the demand for career opportunities rises, the way work gets done is redefined. Boundaries dissolve. The traditional organizational hierarchies change from that organizational structure to more dynamic, shape-shifting groups that form, deliver, and disband quickly, providing and requiring agility. Teams, pods, scrums become a better indicator of success and a more meaningful way to work. The idea of gigs and experiences changes how we think about career experiences. And we move from work defined as years of experience, a level, or a title, to capabilities and skills as the language and currency of evaluating the workforce. Technology, and we heard a lot about this morning, we'll continue to hear about it today, is not just making human processes more efficient, it's redefining human contribution to work. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, conversational interfaces are reshaping how we interact with systems, not just with systems, but with each other. In the manner of recognizing behavior and patterns, making recommendations and predictions, as we heard earlier, and simplifying experiences. As people leaders, we need to take advantage of those technologies, equip our teams to work with them, and apply them in ways that are frictionless to enhance successful outcomes for productivity and ultimately the value that you're seeking. Many of you have been asked to respond to the shifts that you see here, to lead transformation, to promote productivity, to enable growth and scale. It is our mission, our vision, to support this with our single solution, to create better ways for you and your people to work. With our one source of data, one security model, and one experience, we are enabling you to plan, execute, and analyze all within the context of Workday, delivering rich insight and better outcomes. And to even go further together, by adding the ability to extend through close integration and APIs, as you saw this morning. Today we're building products to go beyond the status quo, to take on the trends, to focus on people at the center, taking your guidance to allow you to develop and empower your people so that they stay, add value, have fulfilling careers. We're investing in team constructs to support new dynamics and redefining how we utilize skills. We're doubling down on the power of data, and not just yours, the voice of the entire community. And making that data work for you in actionable ways by applying intelligent experiences with machine learning, artificial intelligence, to act on meaningful insights and set you up for success in this competitive, rapidly changing environment. Everyone has a different model for how they're coping with the transformation and how they're changing. We'd like to hear from two of our customers today to hear how Workday's ability to plan, execute, and analyze has helped them in their transformation. So let's roll the video for a quick introduction. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Margaret Greenleaf, the head of Group HR Strategic Initiatives and Support Solutions at Roche, and Jim Walsh, the leader, Global People Transformation and Workday Implementation at PwC. Okay, thank you both for joining us today. We're very excited to hear about how it's going at Roche and PwC. So, Margaret, I'm going to start with you. As part of your global transformation, which you're calling the People Project, Roche went live with Workday Core HR and recruiting across the entire global organization. So Workday was a catalyst for change, but not just to implement a new system, but to transform your performance process and talent management. So can you share how the project evolved and some of the early successes of Roche?
Did you ever have an experience where you set out to clean that one shelf or corner in your garage, and by the time you're finished, you realize you not only did that, but you cleaned the whole entire garage and maybe part of the basement at the same time? And that's a little bit the experience that we had with our transformation. Because when we started, we had these 3 parallel projects. We were looking at performance, we were looking at HR skills, and doing the Workday implementation. And we realized, wow, there's so many dependencies across these projects. We need to bring them together under a program. And as we did that, we sort of shifted our frame of thinking from looking at them as HR projects to looking at it through the lens of employees and managers. And we really wanted to understand what was value for them. That's how we came to kind of the People Project. We set a guiding principle for ourselves, which was to really engage fully with the organization throughout all of the work that we did. And so we spent a lot of time talking to employees and managers and leadership teams throughout the organization, hundreds of conversations. And what we heard was that they really wanted talent processes that were more employee-centric. And managers and leaders really wanted the flexibility to focus on those talent processes that added the most value for them. So what we did was we implemented check-ins for the organization, and we also expanded beyond just performance, and we looked at all talent, and we framed it as people practices. So there's kind of a core consistency, but then managers and leaders have flexibility to really do what's critical for them. And because they were so engaged in that process, they had a lot of transparency into what we were going to introduce with the people practices. And our plan was to do that fully with the go live of Workday, because Workday is the tool that enables them. But we had a number of business leaders come and say, hey, why do we have to wait? Those are going to add value for us. Can we just start those now? And for us, that was one of those early successes that helped validate that what we're bringing to the organization with the transformation adds benefit, and also that the approach that we took was successful. So that was exciting.
That's good. So what do you think was the greatest impact to the organization?
Well, I think the overall transformation is the biggest impact. You know, we really shifted that dialogue between managers and employees. And of course, managers and leaders now have this flexibility to focus on what's relevant for them. Now, we're still babies. I mean, we're just tiny because we only went live as of April, end of April. But already we're starting to see people living the people practices in Workday, and I think we've had over 600,000 business processes run since our go live. So that's exciting.
Oh, that is exciting. That's terrific. So Jen, you know, PwC is a large multinational professional services network, and it's focused on helping organizations resolve complex issues with one goal: to help your business thrive. So as part of your transformation journey, you look to bring together a network of firms spanning over 157 territories. So how has Workday enabled you to create better ways for people to work?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And maybe just before I start, we were one of those firms as well that went live in the past year. And I just want to make a big shout out publicly to all the great support Workday has provided. So not only does the solution deliver what is intended, but the support that we've gotten during our transformation implementation phase has been outstanding. So I think a big round of applause for all of the workers.
This is why we love you, customers.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, and Margaret touched on this as well, it's so much more than the technology, right? The opportunity to do something kind of truly remarkable in your organization, to set the direction and the journey in a way that not only ensures that you're successful today, but into the future, particularly given all the rapid change that's going on, the disruption around technology, et cetera. And really, Christina, maybe a couple of key things that have started to kind of play out for us, right? One, it's fueling a very different discussion between leaders and our people. And why do I say that? It's because of a couple things. One, transparency of information across the organization, which we didn't really have before. As a network of firms, we're going from 32 different HCM solutions to one, right? 157 different ways to onboard to one, right? But what that creates is insight and understanding about people that actually as leaders we might not have ever had. And the reverse is true as well, we're finding, Christina. Insight and information that our people have now about the organization is much more transparent to them, whether it's about opportunities, whether it's about the people they work with, their peers, or to your point, in terms of how we serve our global clients, where do I find somebody with a specific skill, with a specific foreign language, who has the capacity to do the work my client is asking for me in my territory? So it's really kind of fueled not just the kind of business and leadership experience, but maybe a different kind of growing culture in terms of the way we come together to serve our clients.
That's great. So, Margaret, we talked about some of the trends we're seeing across HCM, right? The war for talent, fluid organizations, and technologies that are transforming the world of work. As each of your organizations is faced with tracking these challenges, how has Workday supported your ability to adapt?
I think we're actually positioned pretty well, and as we developed our people practices, those trends and challenges were things that we took into consideration. So managers and leaders have the flexibility to kind of adapt their talent activities based on what's happening in their environment. And as the environment changes, of course, they can adapt. And Workday is the place where we kind of realize these people practices, and we're starting to see a shift in how people are thinking about talent in the organization. But I think we're also starting to see kind of a change in the way we do our work on a daily basis with Workday. On Friday afternoon, just actually before I was leaving, I was packing up my desk, and a colleague in my organization said, hey, could you come take a look at this? And he had run a snapshot of tenure by geography in our organization. And we saw some actually pretty significant differences across geography. And right then we sort of had this last minute strategy rethink about how we're going to bring capabilities into the organization. His observation was, I never could have done this as a manager before. And to be honest, I'm not sure that we would have even thought about those, through that lens for that strategy if he hadn't done that. So I think we see this shift overall in terms of how we're thinking about talent with our transformation. But I think we also start to see how it changes the way we work on a daily basis.
I love taking those insights and making them actionable.
Yeah.
So cool. So Jim, how has PwC adapted to this new wave of change?
In a very similar way, and one of the things I would build on is we're also looking at digitizing the entire business. So clearly people's a real focus right now, but the other elements of our business as well. And that allows us then the opportunity to really kind of fuel insights about the business in a holistic way: people, information, financial, market, client, regulatory, whatever it may be. The interesting thing about that is I think our leaders now are having more confidence in the decisions they're making. Right? So before, where data may have been stale, it may have been incomplete, maybe your gut said, you know what, this is probably right, I'm not sure I think so, but let's do it. Now I think our leaders are in a position to be a bit bolder, to take what may have been a risk decision a year ago. Actually, with the information now, that risk isn't there, which causes us to move quicker, adapt quicker, and really kind of deal with the change that's coming at us in a proactive way, as opposed to always having to react because we're maybe not as confident in the information and the data.
Well, that's great. So one last question for both of you. So as you look to grow, Jim, as you look to grow your leaders and bring in top talent, you're hiring from top universities across the world. So what is unique in your approach to engaging employees and continuously growing their careers?
Yeah, it's a great question, and part of what we have in the firm is, of course, a leadership development framework, like most organizations, and it cascades throughout. And of course, now Workday is going to help enable that come to life in a way that we've never been able to do it before. But really, what it doesn't replace is the human interaction, right? It doesn't replace the behaviors in your organization, your values, and your culture, and it's really the marriage of all of those that really are simplifying the lives of our people. They're enhancing the experience, but actually making it a bit easier to execute against our values. So if you're a new recruit that's looking to come into an organization, a lot of what people are looking for is, gee, what you tell me, am I actually feeling it? Am I actually experiencing it once I get here? And what this is allowing us to do is actually deliver against that promise more consistently across our network than we've ever been able to do before.
That's great. And Margaret, how has Workday enabled you to support engagement and promotion?
I think, we shifted this dialogue with our overall transformation between employees and managers. And for me as an employee, that's engaging, because now that discussion or that conversation is about what's important to me, and I can drive that. And we've provided that flexibility for managers and leaders to do what's relevant for them in their organizations, which is also engaging for them. So I think overall, this transformation, with Workday being kind of the enabler for our people practices, has really helped us change the focus of engagement. And we're just at the beginning of the journey. I mean, when you flip that switch and you turn Workday on, it's not the end, although I think everybody feels like, whew, but it's really not the end, it's just the beginning of the journey. And it probably continues indefinitely. And that's a good thing. I mean, that's a journey that you want to have continue. So we're excited because we feel like, we actually don't feel like, we know we're focused on the right things. And we're going to continue to engage with the organization as we go forward and continue to evolve as we take this journey together.
That's great. Well, thank you both for being on this journey with us and for joining me here today.
Thank you.
So one of the things that I love about Rising is just getting to spend time with our customers. So thank you to Margaret and Jim and PwC and Roche for sharing that with us. As you can tell, they're on a journey to transform their business. We're all on a journey to transform our business, and we are partners. And you, our customers, are a critical part of how we determine what our strategy and roadmap should look like. And each of you has a voice in influencing that. When we think about since we last met in October last year, we've had 2 updates, Workday 30 and Workday 31. And we delivered 517 additional features in HCM payroll and workforce management. So a huge shout out to the product managers and developers in the room if you're out there. Many of these suggestions came from you directly from the brainstorm. So let's take a look at some of these. In Workday 30, we delivered interview scheduling and candidate self-scheduling. In Workday 31, we did more granular compensation security and mobile enrollment on benefits, which we'll hear a little bit more about later, so you can see all the votes and how much we've delivered. For a whopping 345 total items from the brainstorm. So yes, we listen to your ideas and they do become product. But we also know that there's no shortage of ideas, and we want them to keep coming, but we also want to scale and provide better communication. So there's a few things you're going to see from us. You'll see us gather more details up front so we can understand your requirements better, so that we can address them more quickly. We'll also use not just the votes, but we'll use your workbenches, so make sure you're prioritizing on the workbench, to understand really what is most important to your organizations and use them to help us prioritize, to get a more targeted view. All the applications teams have a dedicated cleanup twice a year to make sure we're addressing these in bulk. In fact, HCM did this in May, and we addressed over 500 brainstorms. And we'll share what's coming more frequently so you can understand, do you need to enter a brainstorm or not, with much more education. You'll see live roadmaps and town halls on the community, so hopefully you're taking advantage of those. So really our goal is to continue to communicate, to continue to listen, but to do it even better than we have. Now we're going to dive into product highlights. You have the next 2 days to dig deeper, so we're going to keep it at a very high level. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to actually speed up my already fast talking. So we've also transformed internally, which I think is very important, to make sure that we're surfacing the right capabilities when they matter the most. So what does that look like? So in the plan to hire area, you want to understand your current workforce, but also help you model, reorganize, recruit, and plan for the future. In the area of develop to perform, setting the teams in the right direction and making sure you're aligned to meet your goals and developing your people. In the area of reward to retain, we're recognizing superior performance and contributions to meet your total rewards initiatives to acquire and retain talent. And in the adapt to succeed pillar, it's building frameworks necessary to provide the engaging experiences you're all looking to deliver for your people. So let's start on that worker journey, and let's begin in the area of plan to hire. Everybody plans. We heard about planning this morning. Who is it? Everybody has the responsibility of every business leader, people leader, and executive. The challenge is synchronizing and connecting plans on an ongoing basis. And as we saw in this morning's keynote, planning and HCM must work closely together. And our new org studio, which Barbara showed you, will be the connection. It will be a delightful drag and drop experience that will not only allow you to model your organizations, but just as importantly, execute on that mass action. The reorganization is one of our first use cases for mass actions, and we are building a framework to help you handle this in an elegant and seamless manner to provide that efficiency and scale that you need. On the hire side of the equation, we've doubled down on recruiting. As we have always done, we've gone back to you for input to understand how do we serve you better. And we did our largest usability study in recruiting. And what we're doing based on what we've seen is a huge focus on efficiency for the recruiters. Our studies have shown that recruiters spend much of their time working in the context of job requisitions. In a few weeks, the job requisition workspace will be available, and recruiters can better focus on working their lists of candidates in the context of their requisitions, allowing them to get their most critical work quickly and to be as productive as possible. And we're not only going to deliver efficiency, but enable recruiters to work smarter. We'll leverage machine learning in partnership with IBM Watson to prioritize job requisitions. So we'll use multiple factors, so we'll use candidate activity, time to fill, upcoming deadlines to understand the complexity and drivers. And as you heard from Barbara this morning, we're also working with IBM Watson to apply intelligence to our candidate list to be able to identify those top candidates based on a candidate scoring. And really, our goal here is to help recruiters identify, to predict where they should be focusing their attention. And of all the personas, we know recruiters are power users. So it is our aim to allow your talent acquisition teams to get through their work quickly and seamlessly. And to do that, there's a huge focus on navigation. With the Recruiter Hub, which will be available in Workday 32, We want to simplify workflow, providing a central workspace for recruiters with one-click access to the key tasks, reducing clicks, improving efficiency, and increasing speed. But rather than hear me talk about it and see screenshots, please join me in welcoming Stephanie Hines, Senior Product Marketing Manager, to show you.
All right, so plan to hire is all about planning for the future. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can reorganize, recruit, and hire a new worker into Workday. Now, as I log into Workday as Logan McNeil, I'm able to drill into the new org studio, where from here, I can see a composite view of all of my in-progress reorganizations. I also have the ability to come in and create an entirely new draft, and allowing me to identify the parent org and the effective date that this is going to take place. When I'm ready, I can drill in to start to create and model what this reorganization is going to look like. Now, we have a couple of initiatives here with this reorganization, and the first is to expand our product development organization. So we'll come in to create a new org as we plan to expand into Brussels, Belgium. In addition to that, we can also come in to update existing organizations, and we'll make a change to the org name, changing it from Security Development Europe to UK, as we now have a multi-presence in that country. But our second initiative is to decrease headcount in our UK location, but to realign our top performing workers and leaders to promote growth and drive culture in that new organization. So as we expand the talent panel, we can start to see some of those top performing leaders. As I identify people for realignment, I can bookmark them as well as some of those workers, and we can then take a look at the list of bookmarked workers, select all, and then drag and drop into that new organization. From here, we'll get that confirmation message, and we then have the ability to come in and now plan for the future. So as we plan to launch a new product in this location, we'll come in and create a number of new positions so that we can hire in mass. We'll come in to create 400 new product developer positions to build product. We'll also come in and create 200 new QA developer positions to test product. And now that we've set a plan in place to hire in the future, we'll do a quick spot check to ensure that everything is evenly dispersed across all of those subordinate organizations. So as a planner, I can zoom out to start to take a look at each individual level, providing me with insight into headcount across all those subordinate organizations. I also can come in to zoom in, taking a look at additional information as the cards resize to prevent more insight to the planner as they're looking at each individual org. And when we're ready, we can come in to then route this for approval, allowing me to submit this reorganization, and we'll consolidate that approval into a single inbox task, so that Logan can then come in and review the workbook of changes before we finalize that reorganization. Now from here, she can take a look at all of the changes that we plan to execute against, but she also has the ability to come in and make edits and changes, allowing her to make adjustments, but we've built in validations to ensure that the information that we're changing is in fact correct. So we'll go ahead and correct that, and as a result, we'll finalize this reorganization, scanning that workbook for errors, and then with a submit, executing that reorganization, submitting over 600 different transactions. And so as we zoom back in to take a look at our new reorganization, we've moved into a new location, we've realigned talent, and now we're ready to recruit to fill some of those open job recs. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like for our recruiters to start to fill some of those job requisitions. Now, new in Workday 32, we're excited to announce the Recruiter Hub, where your recruiters will have that single place to go to start their day. Where from here, we've brought that candidate pipeline front and center, highlighting the total number of candidates and breaking that out by status, allowing recruiters to be able to come in and drill in to determine where they need to spend their time. Now, as a recruiter, I can come in and take action on a single candidate with insight into their application, or even multiple candidates, and determine how I then want to come in and move them forward. Once we go ahead and move them forward, I'll receive that confirmation message, but more importantly, I'll be able to come in and with a single click, return back to that Recruiter Hub. But as a recruiter, it's important for me to be able to personalize this experience. So I have created a number of different shortcuts that allow me to see, what are all of my upcoming job interviews? Or perhaps maybe I want to quickly create an invite to apply for a candidate. And from here, we've also set up a number of cards on this homepage to highlight key tasks tied to offer letters, screening internal candidates, or even background checks, allowing me as a recruiter to be able to come in and again, execute on a single action or to be able to drill in to view an entire consolidated list and determine how I want to take action from there. And then of course, with a single click, we return back to that recruiter home. Now, as a recruiter, I am toggling between reports and candidates and job requisitions. And so as I drill into my job requisition workspace, I have full visibility into all of my job recs, and I can then determine where I need to drill in and spend my time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the job requisition workspace in a little bit more detail. Now, from here, as a recruiter, I work across many different job recs, as you well know. And so I can come in to start to determine how do I want to view this information. By turning on or filtering this information, I can control which job requisitions I have the ability to see. But we'll take a look at this by hiring manager, and as we drill into a single job rec, I'm presented with that entire candidate list, as well as a view of all of my job recs, allowing me to toggle between one another and return back to the job requisition that I'm working on. Now, we happen to know that we have one candidate who is in the interview stage, and Marcus has actually recently completed a round of interviews. So as the recruiter, I need to collect feedback quickly, and I've set up a private Slack channel for our interview team to go in and provide their feedback. From here, we've incorporated information about his background experience, we've posted his resume to this channel, and now it's time for our interview team to come in and submit feedback. So let's go ahead and take a look at our mobile device, and we'll see how Logan McNeil can come in and provide feedback through her natural workspace, which is Slack. So as Logan drills into her Slack application, she can see that private interview channel that's been set up, and of course she can come in to review the information, but more importantly, she wants to be able to come in and provide feedback. So directly within the context of Slack, she has the ability to come in and select her rating for this candidate, as well as incorporate any of her comments within here. And she can quickly and easily submit that feedback, allowing the recruiter to consolidate all of that information and then make a determination as to how we want to move that candidate forward. And so the interview went great. We decided to hire Marcus into the organization. And as Marcus starts his onboarding journey, he's able to drill into the Workday mobile app, where from here, he can drill directly into that onboarding dashboard, giving him insight into some of his key tasks that he needs to complete, but also announcements, welcoming him to the organization and driving him out to Workday learning. And in addition to new hires, we'll also be extending this to pre-hires to ensure that you can keep your pre-hires engaged before they even get started on their first day. Now, as Marcus finds a course that's of interest to him, he can determine how he wants to view this information. As we begin it here, he'll of course be presented with a couple of interactions. And in addition to that, so we'll go ahead and play it first. He'll be presented with some interactions, but he also has the ability to control how he views this information. So as we toggle on the captions, he can of course read along as he watches the video, but with video intelligence, we've created a simpler way for you to, with a single upload, create a caption or a transcription file, creating better ways for your workers to consume information. And at the end, he can of course interact with this course, allowing you to continue to measure engagement across the organization. And so as we plan for the future, Workday provides that single solution that enables you to be able to reorganize, recruit, and onboard workers as they start their worker journey at your company. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Stephanie. I cannot wait till those things are generally available. And we know that you're focused on talent mobility, and it's about breaking down the barriers within and outside of your organizations. And really, you want to help your people build knowledge and build connections. And to that end, we're adding capabilities to push talent forward, to provide insight, to guide performance, to enable talent, and to provide the right opportunities to learn. As the world of work continues to change, delivering flexible frameworks to support workers as they align on work becomes more and more important. And we're providing the ability to collaborate with teams and team feedback, and using machine learning to surface the relationships and connections. We also know that performance management has changed in all of your organizations, really moving from performance management to what we call performance enablement. And that move towards a more frequent conversation, more frequent and informal check-ins becomes even more important. So we're supporting the need for that quick and intuitive way to track those ongoing conversations with mobile check-ins. The other thing we're doing here is we're supporting your need to give feedback in an easy way through other modes such as Slack, which we'll see in a little bit. But next, we're going to deliver third-party survey content in Workday. And very importantly, it's not just being able to deliver that content, being able to actually execute the survey via Workday surveys, but giving it the context of rich Workday data. So we're extremely excited about that. Now, as we move towards a marketplace of skills, interests, and opportunities come together, we are focused on delivering better ways to deliver deeper knowledge so that people can discover opportunities and career experiences. And to that end, content becomes very critical to this. With the Workday Content Cloud, which we'll be delivering shortly, we'll be able to surface some of the best third-party content in the world together with the content that you have in Workday Learning. And I'm delighted to share that LinkedIn Learning, YouTube, and Harvard Managed Mentor are the first partners in this endeavor. We also want to make sure that we're giving you options with delivered integrations to Skillsoft, which many of you have that content today and asked for that integration. So we're happy that we'll be able to deliver that as well. And it's not just about third-party content, it's also about making sure that we deliver original content. And I'm excited to share that we'll be working with Josh Burson, the industry thought leader, to develop a masterclass to be available in Workday Learning. Stephanie showed this a little bit earlier today, where with the focus on video for learning, there are massive amounts of video in all of your learning environments. So video really has become a black box. And what we're doing is opening the door of this video black box with machine learning. So with IBM Watson Media, we're providing the ability, as you saw in Stephanie's demo, the ability to caption and transcribe, converting speech to text, allowing search to be much easier for all video content, and that's video content for learning, for onboarding, and for job descriptions, which greatly enhances the experience, and especially if you think about learning, the learner experience from an accessibility, comprehension, and search standpoint. The other thing we've heard from you, and you've been asking us to support, is the ability to handle learners outside of your organization. So things like partners, distributors, customers, agents. And I'm delighted to share that development is underway to meet this need. With the Workday Learning for the Extended Enterprise, will allow you to give access to those known workers. It will start with some basic branding, but expand from there and allow you to define the content that these external learners can see, really allowing you to extend learning beyond the doors of your organization. The Skills Cloud, one of my favorite things. And you saw this morning, and our common skills language is now available as an innovation service, as Barbara shared. When we think about this, really, allowing us to crowdsource so that skills are always up to date, diminishing skills administration, improving the experience when a worker enters skills, that's all huge. But now allowing for more comprehensive matching and recommendations, allowing you all to ask the question, what skills do I have in my organization? What skills do I need? But we're going to continue to invest in our Skills Cloud and what we do here so that you can understand the currency of your workforce by allowing you to assess and verify the level of that skill, being able to infer skills. So where did this skill come from? Understanding the strength, so using data to derive the strength of a skill from projects, from endorsements, from feedback. And then taking advantage of the rich data set that you have, surfacing other related data. So what are other people with the same skill? What jobs require these skills? What are recommended skills because they're similar? And what learning builds those skills? So really living into that power of one, and that power of data and connection only possible with this one combined data set. And this is only the beginning. There will be so much more that we'll be doing here, which is why we're extremely excited about it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie one more time to show you.
All right. So let's continue on in Marcus's worker journey. Now he's progressed from a new hire to a more tenured employee, and now he's focused on acquiring new skills on taking on more responsibility across new teams, and on facilitating more frequent feedback throughout Workday. So as he drills into the desktop, one of the first things that he wants to come in and do is provide feedback to his new hire mentor for all of her help along the way. So using the Workday Assistant, Marcus can come in and tell Workday what he'd like to do. Helps if I spell it right. All right. So as a result, it will, of course, ask us. We just need a name, so we'll enter in the name here. And then, of course, I have the ability to then come in and enter in my information. So as I come in to submit that information, it gives me the opportunity to review and edit it before we post. And what's nice is that I not only have the ability to easily enter in my feedback, but as we've just gone in to post this directly to Susan's profile, we can see that all of that information is now visible, allowing us to help drive engagement across the organization. Now, one of the other things that I'm focused on for today is to prepare for a one-on-one check-in with my manager. And so as I drill into the talent and performance dashboard, I'm able to provide that single place for our workers to go to analyze exactly where they're at from a performance standpoint. I can see gaps in job competencies or skills. I'll provide an update on some of the goals that I'm working on, but I also have the ability to come in here and take action. So as I've acquired quite a few skills in my first year, I have the ability to come in and update these skills, allowing me to come in and type in, let's say for example, product. And the Workday Skills Cloud will not only present a single skill, but it will present additional relevant or like skills, enabling me to easily enter that information in. But what's more important is what's actually happening in the background. We're creating that universal language of skills, allowing us to then be able to utilize those as we look to provide more opportunities for our employees in the future. But I've also become quite a product expert, and as a result of that, I've also been added to some new teams to help support the launch of that new product in Belgium. And so with a quick search of view teams, you'll notice that I have a couple new teams that I've been aligned to. Now these are independent of my actual reporting structure. But what Workday allows us to do is to be able to create and put together teams in the way that we know that work actually gets done today. So as Marcus drills in, he can view each of those different team members, start to facilitate connections, and start to think about what his role is going to be as he leads the product launch in this new location. And as a result, he now has a couple of things that he has to talk about in his one-on-one check-in with his manager. So let's go ahead and take a look at, from our mobile standpoint, how Marcus can come in and create a check-in. Now, as we log over to the mobile device, Marcus can, of course, drill in and access his talent and performance dashboard, where from here, he'll be able to create a check-in. Now, check-ins can be created at any time and at any frequency, and they're intended to be that quick touch point to be able to collect feedback. Ahead of the check-in, you have the ability to come in and create different topics, which allow each worker or even a manager to then determine what are some of the shared notes or things that we want to discuss, or maybe what are some of the private notes, things that are to-dos that I might want to follow up on as a result of this check-in. And when you're ready, you have the ability to come in and create that check-in, identifying the date that you're planning to meet and pulling in any existing topic areas, allowing you to have a more meaningful conversation. As a result, you can of course add additional information to this, but when you're done, we'll of course store this information so that you can come back to review it at any point in time. Now let's go ahead and jump back into our desktop, and we'll take a look at now how Marcus can start to search for some learning content that might help him to ramp up in the area of team development. Now as Marcus logs back into Workday, he can drill directly into Workday Learning, where from here, of course, he can see a dashboard of content based on his interests, or even content that's recommended for him. So as he drills into one of these courses, he can then determine if he wants to view this information. But in the case that he doesn't have time to view it today, he has the ability to come in and add this to his learning path. So learning paths are that ability for each worker to come in and create that personalized list of content, allowing me to come back and view it whenever I have the time to do so. Now, in addition to recommended content, Marcus also knows that there's quite a bit of rich content within the library here. So as he comes in to browse for content, we'll do a quick search for team. He'll notice that in addition to the tenanted learning data, there's also leveraging the Content Cloud data from courses from LinkedIn Learning, YouTube, and Harvard Managed Mentor that he can drill in to, again, add to a learning path or identify as something that he'd like to watch later. So we'll go ahead and add that to the list. And then lastly, when he's ready, he can come back to his learning library to be able to view all of those courses that he's bookmarked to watch later, or even drill directly into a learning path to see what's still outstanding as he works on that particular skill set. And as a result, we know that there happens to be a job out there for every worker that's looking. So it's more important than ever that we engage our employees truly in those moments that matter. And Marcus has been here a year already, and we happen to know that that's right around the time when our employees look for their next opportunity. And so as Marcus drills into the opportunity graph, he can start to see what's next. He has the ability to drill into any one of the job profiles to start to understand more information. What skills are required for this job? What's the top learning for this role? And if I am ready to pursue that next opportunity, I can drill directly into an open job requisition and determine if I'd like to apply. And so the power of one is really being able to also enable our employees to pursue those new opportunities, taking my worker profile, my background experience, those new skills that I've added, and submitting my job application. So whether it is acquiring new skills or taking on more responsibilities across new project teams, Workday is enabling you to be able to empower your workers at every point of their performance enablement journey. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm especially excited about the mobile check-in, so, I'm sure the people on my team, maybe not so excited. So as we move towards gigs, teams, and mobility, our perspective on rewards and retention is evolving as well. When we think about rewards come in many different currencies, right? Benefits, growth, flexibility, learning, and development experiences. And we're investing in ways to give you more flexibility around rewards, to support different approaches to retention. So what if you could reward a top performer with a Skunkworks project, or quickly bring a team together to solve a pressing issue? And studies show that workers that are engaged in growing see that as a valuable reward and stick around. And to that end, this is what brings in our goal to build that internal marketplace for talent, that talent marketplace. And as many of you know, we acquired some new workmates this year at a team called Rally Team. And they worked on a talent mobility platform and are bringing their great expertise and fun, as you'll see in a minute, to help us in our endeavors to build that talent marketplace. So I'd like to introduce our new workmates to you, formerly known as Rally Team, the Workday Talent Marketplace. Please roll the video.
Hey Rising, Workday took a great leap forward in supporting the gig economy by acquiring our company, formerly known as Rally Team.
So who are we? We're a group of hard-working,
Hard-playing folk who built a talent mobility platform.
a way to put your best people on your most important work.
In 2 years, almost half the workforce will be engaged in the gig economy.
Will you be ready? Talent mobility helps you stay agile and move fast.
When your market or the world changes around you.
It's a way to retain great talent by spitting new opportunities in your workplace for your Gen X, Y, and Zs who grew up collaborating on dynamic project-based teams.
As the world of work shifts from traditional hierarchies to a marketplace of skills, our team can't wait to apply our deep expertise to help you connect talent to opportunities and align resource needs with the interests and expertise of your people.
Now we can leverage rich Workday data, your work history, skills, goals, and aspirations to make even smarter recommendations.
With our built-in machine learning capabilities, we'll continue to learn from those recommendations, connecting the people and opportunities that need each other the most. The future of work is changing. With Workday,
We're ready to rally.
And we're ready to rally with them. So very exciting things that we're working on. This morning you heard a little bit about Workday Ventures. But when we think about employee engagement, it really continues to be a top initiative because it affects the top and bottom line. And we find that there's a willingness out there, a desire to have employee enablement applications that are designed for the individual, not the HR department. But there's a proliferation of applications out there because the barriers to entry are pretty low. And you, our customers, have asked Workday, you're demanding more help from us. You're asking us you rely on us as the source of truth for your people data. So you're kind of you've asked us to make sense of this information. And because you rely on us for that, we've decided to invest in some promising early stage opportunities, creating an employee enablement network of validated, supported solutions, Similar to the Global Payroll Cloud, which you might be familiar to, or our benefits network, with the additional benefit of putting our strategic investment to work to share in the success of these companies. In the area of education as a benefit, career management, carpooling, international mobility, and leadership development, you can visit these different vendors in the expo hall. Retention is about remaining competitive. Benchmarking leverages the power of the ecosystem. So you're able to prepare across key metrics to remain leaders in many areas. Last year we announced Data as a Service, our benchmarking capabilities at Rising. And to date, over 350 of you customers have signed up for benchmarking. And we're hearing that you're gaining tremendous insight. And this is only possible because all of your information, because you're all similar, are on that same single platform. Well, we plan to extend benchmarks to include areas such as compensation, and we're going to use machine learning to help make those connections between your data and things like market data, and we'll extend to other areas such as workforce structure, career progression, and of course, skills. Last year, we showed our progress in the long-awaited mobile open enrollment. I could not be more delighted to say that it is generally available now with Workday 31. So let's take a look, and for one last time, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie.
So for our last demo, we'll take a look at how Marcus can prepare and also enroll in benefits for the coming year. Now, as Marcus logs back into his desktop, he can see from announcements that the open enrollment period is, of course, already in progress. But before he enrolls, he has a couple of quick questions that he needs to get answered that are going to impact what benefits he opts into. Now, as Marcus opens up Workday Talk, he can not only see the assistant, but we've also leveraged Workday's open platform to be able to create a third-party bot, leveraging a light that helps us to answer some of those frequently asked questions related to open enrollment. So let's go ahead and ask a couple questions. We'll start with something easy, like what medical plan am I enrolled in? As a result, it will present us back with some information, and we'll then be able to come in and determine or enter in an additional comment. In this case, I'm interested in some health savings accounts. So directly within the context of Workday, Marcus has the ability to, or is presented with some additional information that allows him to determine or help to answer some of those questions. So he happens to be, most curious about the difference between the HSA and the FSA. And directly within the chat, he can read through, allowing him to then make determinations about what plan is going to be the most beneficial for him as he makes his enrollment elections. And so with some of the information that he has, or that he's already received, he's now ready to go in and complete his open enrollment. So let's go ahead and take a look at, from the mobile device, what that new mobile open enrollment experience looks like. Now, as Marcus logs into Workday, he can drill into his inbox, where from here he has an open enrollment event, of course, waiting his action. As he drills in to get started, he's presented with key questions that he can quickly answer, and he has the ability to then drill into each one of the individual tiles. Now, this year he's elected or opted into the high deductible health plan, but he can drill into view details that tie back to costs as well as plan descriptions. And from here, he can also drill in to edit and make changes. Now, he's going to keep with this plan, but this year he's going to come in and add his spouts to his coverage, and Workday will automatically update those coverage types, making this even simpler for employees. In addition to that, he also wants to be sure to come in and enroll in that health savings account. And so as he opts into this new plan, he'll then be able to determine how much money does he want to contribute monthly or even annually. And as we save that information, we can then take a look at our summary of benefits for this year, allowing us to be able to come in and review all of the benefits that we've selected, as well as any of the waived coverages and our total cost breakdown. And when we're ready, we have the ability to come in and electronically sign and submit our open enrollment, all from our mobile device, allowing us to also be able to drill in to view our 2018 benefit statement here as well. Now, lastly, we also want to enable our employees to analyze their total rewards at any point in time throughout the year. So as Marcus drills into his dashboards, he can access the total rewards dashboard, providing him with insight into a breakdown of what is his total cost of base pay, incentive, and even total cost of benefits for this year. But in addition to looking at or enrolling in benefits, Marcus also wants to be able to come in and provide feedback to the organization. And so he's going to drill into his weekly pulse survey. He gets this every week, and it's just a very quick way for him to be able to provide feedback. Now, I'll answer a couple of key questions. Was I made to feel welcome when I joined the organization? Yes. Do we provide unique benefits? I think so. And also, is this a fun place to work? Absolutely. So with a quick submit, I'm able to send that feedback, but this is a great example of how Workday enables you to be able to pull in third-party third-party questionnaires, enabling you to be able to measure critical aspects of an employee's engagement. And as a result, we know from collecting feedback results that diversity and inclusion also has a huge impact on employee satisfaction. So let's go ahead and take a look at the desktop to understand a little bit more about how Logan McNeil can start to analyze exactly where we're at from a diversity standpoint. Now, as we view the desktop here, Logan can drill into her diversity dashboard, where we've delivered reports to provide key visibility into gender, ethnicity, and a number of different metrics. As she drills into the dashboard, she has a number of different insights, but now that she has an understanding of where we are as an organization today, she'd also like to understand where are we compared to some of our peers or compared to others in a similar industry. So as she does a quick search for leadership diversity, we're able to open up Workday benchmarks, which allows us to come in and of course run that report to show us exactly where we're at compared to some of those in the Workday ecosystem. So with this insight, she has the ability to understand and compare herself to some of the others that have also opted in, enabling her to then determine if she needs to make adjustments to the year going forward. So as we continue to provide simpler ways for employees to enroll and provide feedback, we're able to measure critical aspects of employees' engagement, allowing us to actually be able to reward and retain our workers for the future. So I'll go ahead and hand it back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, we are in the home stretch. Our last pillar focuses on frameworks and capabilities and your need to adapt and succeed in an ever-changing environment. As you saw this morning, we're investing in cool and enabling technologies to allow you to take advantage of the rich data in Workday and to support employees on their career journey. You saw the people experience from both Barbary and Joe. Your workers change daily, they learn new skills, and really what we're trying to do here is give them the most important information at the right point in time, using predictive technologies to meet them where they are. Recommendations for development and learning, mentors, bots to assist and accelerate the interactions with third-party systems, with access to applications within and external to Workday, so your people can transact and act and to extend beyond Workday to create a cohesive, intuitive, and relevant experience. Important milestones such as onboarding, promotions to new managers, international assignments are exciting opportunities, but they are rare. And people simply don't know what they don't know as they're going through the process. And it creates a heavy burden for them. They have to know who should they talk to, what are due dates, what are systems that they should remember. So what we're doing is building an entire framework, which you saw earlier, to curate these key experiences. And to handle this challenge is our concept of journeys. This guide landing area provides context on the guided nature and pacing, making steps interactive and viewing videos and third-party interactions. The path provides an overview of the employee's journey, so they can take a look at what's coming next, see access to past steps so they make sure that they haven't missed any of those steps, and it gives them that complete context to know how many parts a journey might have, importantly giving them a general sense of progress as they go through. And the Discovery tab will reference information an employee needs to succeed on their journey, surfacing relevant information on their knowledge base or contact information through machine learning. And this is only possible with the rich data set you have in Workday, and we're very excited about what this will provide for your people. As we look forward to our investments in machine learning and artificial intelligence, we know that they're going to change the way people interact with Workday. And machine learning will augment what we do by finding themes and patterns and richer insight, as we saw this morning. It will accelerate work by allowing us to reach outcomes faster, and it will assist by simplifying the navigation and interaction. So let's see how it can play out. Please roll the video.
Every day, you look to be the best leader you can be. You coach, set goals, provide feedback, and hit goals. But it's hard to be productive when the day is filled with meetings, presentations, and obstacles. A million things, both big and small, need your attention. All these things need decisions, and you need all the help you can get. Workday finds the things that are most important to you, so you can make decisions all at the speed of conversation.
Good morning, Angela. Would you like to hear your daily briefing for today?
Sure.
Instead of searching and digging for information, the information finds you.
I noticed your operating margin is above your target of 4% quarter over quarter due to the Southgate project team.
Workday takes all kinds of data from all kinds of sources to show you top trends in your organization and help you understand how and why things are happening. With augmented analytics, you get personalized insights into business performance as well as opportunities. So, when Workday tells you something deserves your attention,
I also noticed that compa ratio of Southgate is below target.
you can take immediate action.
Please grant members of the Southgate team 20 RSUs each and tell them great work.
Done. Stop grants awarded and feedback completed.
Looking for a great leader for a new project?
What factors contributed to the success of the Southgate project?
The Southgate project had a diverse team and high levels of employee engagement.
Tell me more.
Neil Jackson led the team and is a high potential employee.
Great. Can you find other internal candidates with similar skills to lead the new Topaz project?
Brandon Harris closely matches Neil Jackson's skill.
Invite him to apply.
Sure thing. Invitation sent. Anything else I can help you with?
Not right now. Thank you, Workday. Time to head home.
Workday is a partner like no other.
So to bring it back all together, we really continue to focus on putting your people at the center to create better ways to work. We're all in the midst of this massive change with the trends, and we really want to support you on this journey and invest in these areas. So you'll see putting people at the center will allow us to create rich and engaging experiences to develop and empower and grow your people. Investing in team constructs, utilizing skills so you can support more fluid organizations and the gig economy. Extending the power of data to double down on insight by investing in predictive technology. And certainly, last but not least, allowing you to plan for transformation by applying emerging technology to people challenges. To combine the power of computing, artificial intelligence, and human potential in a way that impacts how you work, engage teams, and achieve results. And this is how we'll all go further together. Please check out these sessions because we definitely gave you a quick, speedy tour through the highlights, so you can see these here. So many sessions, so much learning this week. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you have a great Rising and have a great day.